Hey church, this is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for some more time in God's Word. I want to give a quick shout out today to Mark Hargis from Woodbury Wealth Management in Woodbury, Minnesota. Mark, thank you so much for being a friend over the years. Thanks so much for your regular ongoing financial support that helps this ministry here to drive our mission forward, to build better men. Thank you so much for that. This is for you today, Nehemiah chapter 2, verses 9 through 10. It reads, "Then I," that's Nehemiah, of course, "came to the governors of the province beyond the river." There's that river phrase that you've probably heard on the news time and time again over the last few months. "Beyond the river, and gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent me with officers of the army and horsemen. But when Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the Ammonite servant heard this, it displeased them greatly that someone had come to seek the welfare of the people of Israel." Interesting, right? Just the cycle keeps repeating itself. So in this narrative, we jump from Nehemiah serving comfortably as cupbearer in the palace of the king to Nehemiah serving as a courageous governor facing immediate and daunting challenges in his campaign toward Jerusalem. He has already made the trek from the palace to the province toward his homeland, and we learn that King Artaxerxes has provided him with even more additional military protection, some officers of the army and some horsemen. Now, instantly, Nehemiah senses that Sanballat and Tobiah, two other governors, are displeased that the king has gotten behind Nehemiah. As we stated a few lessons back, there have been two other Jewish rebuilding campaigns, one by a man named Zerubbabel, who rebuilt the temple in Jerusalem, and Ezra, who's writing this book as well, Ezra, who re-engaged God's people in understanding and knowing God's word. Both men met with their own opposition, and these governors in this situation did not want Nehemiah to build a fortifying wall around Jerusalem. A wall would only serve to minimize their agenda and strengthen the position of the Jews. Now, just as Nehemiah faced opposition in his time, this timeless struggle echoes across our time today, doesn't it? From the southern border of our country to the tense boundaries of Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan, where similar battles of interest and ideology are being fought. For one party, fortification protects their interests, and for others, fortification prevents their interests. And so the conflict continues and will until the time of our world comes to an end. But let's not forget that these border battles don't just start as international contentions. They are battles that develop because we have lost our way. We have failed to protect the boundaries of our character, our marriages, our children, and such. And one compromise at a time, men, marriages, families, churches, communities, and nations become corrupt. We make one compromise after another until our leaders become so corrupt that they sell their influence to serve their self-interests. And those self-interests turn them into enemies of God until righteousness and character are completely compromised and until nations are completely destroyed and dissolved. This is how all this works. So we really shouldn't be surprised by what we're seeing in our world today. But once in a while, a humble man of God arises in this tension. One man who still wants to do God's bidding. Sometimes he is a lowly cupbearer. And his life is not one of immense glory. It is one of nothing but opposition, which is what Nehemiah's is. Every day, Nehemiah lives on edge, and he understands the battle is not physical. It is a spiritual battle, and the opposition hates God and God's agenda. And this man who loves God so much, he's willing to suffer the opposition because a few souls might know the glory of God. So what say you? Are you going to humbly lean into the opposition today or not? Fellas, I love you. I pray this has blessed you. If it has, go share it with someone else and lean into it today. And I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.